My name is Emma. When I was 9, I believed birthdays were magic. But the one I was waiting for the most was my 10th. 10 felt important, grown up, like a door opening to a better life. I started counting the days weeks before. Every morning, I crossed another box on the calendar hanging by our fridge. 7 days left. 6. 5. My mom noticed. She always did. She smiled and said, "Your birthday will be different this year, Emma." I asked her why. She leaned closer and whispered, "Because I have something special for you. Not a toy, not a cake, something that will change your life." Those words stayed in my head. At school, I couldn't focus. My teacher's voice faded into noise while I imagined surprises. Maybe a trip, maybe a new room, maybe my dad would finally come back. At night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, replaying her words over and over. Something that will change your life. My mom was everything to me. There was no one else. No dad, no grandparents, just us. She braided my hair every morning. She waited for me after school. She kissed my forehead before turning off the lights. Our small apartment felt safe because she was in it. The night before my birthday, I couldn't sleep. I held my pillow tight and smiled in the dark. Tomorrow, I thought, everything will be perfect. When I woke up, sunlight filled my room. For a second, I felt pure happiness. It's today. I jumped out of bed and ran to the kitchen. "Mom," I called. She was there, but something was wrong. She wasn't wearing her usual sweater. She was fully dressed. Her coat was on, and beside the door was a suitcase. My heart skipped. "Mom?" I asked quietly. She turned around. Her eyes were red, like she had been crying all night. She smiled at me, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Happy birthday, Emma," she said softly. I waited for the hug, for the balloons, for the smell of cake. None of it came. Instead, she looked at the clock, then back at me. "Sit down," she said, and for the first time that morning, I felt scared. I didn't understand what was happening at first. I was still standing there, in my pajamas, watching my mom look at me like she was saying goodbye, without actually saying it. "Why is your suitcase there?" I asked. My voice sounded small, even to me. She didn't answer right away. She just walked to the table and pulled out a chair. "Emma," she said quietly, "I need you to listen to me." I sat down. My legs felt weak. She stood in front of me, holding her hands together so tightly her fingers turned white. "I have to leave today." The words didn't make sense. I laughed. I actually laughed. "Leave where?" I asked. "And when are you coming back?" She looked at the floor. "I don't know," she said. That was when fear hit me. Not the kind you feel during a nightmare, the kind that crawls into your chest and refuses to leave. "But it's my birthday," I whispered. She nodded. "I know." That hurt more than anything. I stood up and walked toward her. "So this is my gift? You leaving?" She reached out like she wanted to touch my face, then stopped. Tears filled her eyes. "Emma, please," she said. "Don't make this harder." "Harder?" My chest burned. "You promised," I said. "You said this birthday would change my life." She closed her eyes. "I'm sorry." That word shattered something inside me. I grabbed her coat. "No," I cried. "No, you can't go. I'll be good. I won't complain anymore. I'll do everything you want." I was begging, a 10-year-old girl, begging her own mother not to leave. She gently pulled my hands away. "I love you," she said. "But love isn't supposed to walk out the door." She picked up the suitcase. I followed her. "Mom, please," I screamed. She opened the door. Cold air rushed in. She turned around one last time. Her face looked broken.
Then she stepped outside, and the door closed. I stood there frozen, waiting for it to open again. It didn't. That was the last time I saw her. The days after that felt unreal. I kept expecting her to come back. Every sound in the hallway made my heart jump. I slept on the couch so I could hear the door. It never opened. People came over. They talked softly like I was made of glass. They said, "She needed time. She'll come back." I believed them, at first. Weeks turned into months. Months turned into years. She never called, never wrote, never showed up. On my next birthday, I waited again. I stared at the door, just like I did when I was 10. It stayed closed. Something inside me changed that day. The hope turned into pain. The pain turned into anger. I started to hate her. I hated the way people said her name carefully. I hated the way they defended her. She must have a reason. I didn't care about the reason. What reason is big enough to leave your child alone? At night, I cried into my pillow. I missed her voice, her smell, the way she brushed my hair. I needed her, but she wasn't there.
So I stopped needing anyone. I built walls around my heart. I told myself I didn't care. But every time I saw other girls with their moms, something inside me broke all over again. I wasn't just abandoned, I was forgotten. Or at least, that's what I believed. For years, I lived believing one thing, that my mother chose to leave me, that on my 10th birthday, she decided her life without me was better than a life with me. That belief shaped everything. I didn't trust easily. I didn't get close. I didn't ask for help, because the one person who was supposed to stay didn't. I grew up fast, too fast. By 16, I was working after school. By 18, I moved out. By 25, I had built a life that looked strong from the outside, but inside, there was still a 10-year-old girl standing by a closed door, waiting for it to open. I told myself I didn't care anymore, until one random afternoon changed everything. I was cleaning out old boxes I'd taken from storage, things I hadn't touched in years, old clothes, school notebooks, and at the bottom of one box, an envelope. It was yellowed with age. My name was written on it. Emma. My heart stopped. I had never seen it before. My hands shook as I opened it. Inside was a letter, and beneath it, a hospital bracelet. My mother's name was on it. I started reading. My sweet Emma, if you are reading this, it means I didn't get the chance to tell you the truth myself, and I am so sorry. I didn't leave because I wanted to. I left because I was running out of time. My chest tightened. I kept reading. When you were 9, I found out I was sick, very sick. The doctors said I needed long-term treatment, hospitals, medications, things I couldn't afford. I was scared, not of dying, but of leaving you in a hospital room watching me disappear piece by piece. Tears blurred my vision. I didn't want your last memories of me to be machines and pain. So I made the worst decision of my life. I left. I thought distance would hurt less than watching me fade. I dropped the letter. For the first time in 15 years, the anger cracked. But the pain, it doubled. I went back to the letter. I wanted to come back, Emma. I tried, but my body didn't cooperate. I asked someone to keep this letter safe, to give it to you when you were old enough to understand. Please know this. There was never a day I didn't love you, never a birthday I didn't remember, never a moment you weren't my heart.
I'm sorry I wasn't strong enough to stay. I hope you forgive me. Love, Mom. I collapsed onto the floor. I wasn't abandoned. I was protected in the only way she knew how. But there was more. Attached to the letter was an address, a hospital, and a date from years ago. I didn't think. I grabbed my coat and went. The hospital smelled like disinfectant and silence. I walked to the front desk, my voice barely steady. I'm looking for information about a patient, I said. I gave her my mother's name. The woman typed, paused, then looked at me softly. I'm sorry, she said. She passed away 12 years ago. The words hit me like a wave. I nodded. I didn't cry. Not yet. She left something for you, the woman added. My breath caught. She handed me a small box. Inside was a photo. Me, 10 years old, sleeping, holding a pillow. On the back, in familiar handwriting, my Emma, my everything. That was when I finally broke. I cried for the birthdays she missed, for the hugs I never got, for the goodbye she never explained. But I also cried for her, for the fear she carried alone, for the love she never stopped giving. I didn't get the reunion I dreamed of, no dramatic meeting, no last conversation, but I got the truth, and the truth changed everything. She didn't leave because she didn't love me. She left because she loved me too much. Now, every year on my birthday, I light a candle, not for what I lost, but for what I had. A mother who loved me enough to make an impossible choice. And finally, I let the door inside my heart open.